Okay, I will do my best to keep this concise, but it's also important to be able to share my own experience, because I am, like you, walking this human experience, and I'm not I would say exempt from any of the energies that are coming through. I have my tools, I do my work the best I can with being in alignment with who I am, with accessing my wisdom and embodying, grounding, so I can traverse these times the best I can. And yet still there are layers that need to be seen, witnessed, accepted, addressed, because healing comes in layers, like an onion or a Russian doll, and we go through them one layer at a time. It is not possible to heal as humanity, individually or collectively, in one go. That is just not doable. And I know a lot of the New Age schools or New Age beliefs or programs or whatever we been kind of agreeing upon as beliefs for what we call ascension or awakening, and I do this not to not validate those teachings. Those teachings are important, but also to understand that even those teachings are not the entire reality, do not tell the entire story. And the danger nowadays, and I tell this from an individual experience, when we subscribe to belief system and we get so rigid about it and we think that the world only operates through that perception, then we are really concealing ourselves in a very rigid world view and reality view. And then we run into the danger of actually thinking that we are above everyone else. And more the understanding is that actually life is energy in motion, vibration, frequency, timelines, fluid. Time is fluid, so everything is constantly in flow, in motion, in evolution. And so the more we realize this, the less resistance and the less suffering. And so that's why I say this as, the woke movement or the ascension movement. And I do this because I know what's there, and a lot of you might already, like me, gone through all of this information and have come to your own conclusions. And a lot of you might just starting to find out, what is this about the ascension movement and being awake and being conscious and being aware, and it is all great to dive into the rabbit hole and start understanding that there's so many different ways that you can perceive reality. But the most important is that ultimately it's about your journey. Ultimately it's about you as however you perceive yourself as. What or who are you? And that is like the most fundamental question of all, because we as human beings, at some point we question this. Who am I? What am I? Why am I? And there is no one answer, isn't it? Like there's no one single source of truth or one universal value, because reality is constantly in flow. And we are, if you understand fractals, we are pieces of a bigger picture, and that bigger picture is existing through the small packets. So I'm not gonna get too philosophical, but I wanna say this, and so I'm gonna close the parenthesis here. And I'm going to dive into what's happening at energetic level from an astrological, transformational astrological point of view, from Earth perspective. There are so many perspectives, like there are so many layers and so many ways of viewing reality. All right, so yes, there is the heliocentric astrology, which I find fantastic, beautiful. It's cosmic, it's quantic, and it means that we are able to see the energy in motion through the planetary positions and galactic position from the central point of the sun. So then we can see also the place of Earth and us in it. So cosmic astrology is incredible to get into. And I think and I feel that the more we strip our layers of reality and perception and truth collectively, we will get bigger understanding. The more we start realizing a different perspective, and then we start understanding more. And that's part of growth, and it takes time. So cosmic astrology, we will get there. But at this stage, what we all more and more understand is the astrology from the geocentric point of view, from within the Earth sphere. So it's like from ourselves, us being the center of the universe, what are the configurations? So from this perspective, second brackets, I just want to talk about the energies at play. And the energies at play, particularly this October, November, December, are massive. October has been massive, and I had other videos about the eclipse season from the 8th of August. From there, it's been, and it hasn't peaked yet. And what is happening with this next full moon eclipse happening on the 8th of November? It's very connected with the partial eclipse that we just went through, that just happened on the 25th, just now of October. Preparation for this one, and they're very connected. They are both about our individuality, our place in the world, and also death and rebirth and regeneration. So what aspects of our identity need to die? And we've been all through this death energy. And what death energy is basically what has completed its cycle, what is finished. And the truth is that we've so hung up to having control or being in the familiarity that it's almost impossible not to resist when change hits and we have sudden loss around us, or suddenly we have this urge to move through big changes in our lives, or understanding that actually there's a lot of stuff, or maybe one or two or a lot around my life that is not longer working for me, and I'm feeling more and more disoriented, confused, stuck, stagnant, and we enter in a crisis point. And of course, pair that or topple that with the amount of solar weather and energies, because the sun is a portal of photonic light, and it's viewed as new programs of information, like a computer. Every time and constantly we're receiving new information, new packets of information. Some people call it downloads, and we are all receiving them because we are within this Earth, and Earth is constantly receiving this information through her magnetic field, and then she's trying to, she needs to move that energy through, like we move our energy through our body, if we even are aware of how energy moves through our body. That's why it's so important to be way more grounded and connected with our body and how energy moves through our bodies. So we are receiving this energy constantly and charge up. So the more we receive, what's happening is that we need to let go It's that energy and that information comes through and it starts putting pressure in areas in our energetic body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, and that all aspects of ourselves, of what needs to be released, so there's space for that new. We need to release the old for space of the new. And that's part of life. We can't, it's like everything. You need to declutter. You need to declutter your life to have space for the new. If you never trash anything, if you never let go of something, imagine how much you can accumulate in a lifetime. And that will only translate into very heavy load that then ends up in disease, whether it is manifested in our bodies as physical illness, or manifest through mental illness, or it manifests through emotional imbalances, nervous system stress, anxiety, and all of that, burnout. So if we are not in sync or in flow with the natural way of how life works, then we're in trouble. And that's one of the most pressing lessons right now that we are encountering, is, are you able to let go of what is needed in your life so that the new can come in? And you may ask, well, what if I don't want anything new? Why do I have to let go of anything? Well, because everything is evolving and it's moving through anyway. So it's gonna go through you. It's more a matter of, this is happening already. How can you make it? How can you flow with it? How can you allow it? And I tell you something, I feel the best way is through presence. And for me on Monday, I realized how much stress I was putting into my system, because I was carrying a decision I thought I had to take very quickly, otherwise I'll lose the opportunity. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, because when I encountered a little bit of more pressure in my day, on that Monday, my body snapped, and I was just releasing so much pain and grief and pure post-traumatic stress. It was just like, I've been through a lot personally, and I think all of us have, but we all are in different motions. But my motion, my own process, has been really full on the past 2 years, and particularly last 3 months. So my mind thought, yeah, sure, Miri can't do anything. Let's keep pushing her through whatever she needs to accomplish. And my body say, hold on a second, we're not ready. My adrenals went boom, we can't take this. Migraine, headache, unstoppable crying, shake it, you name it. And for a moment, my mind was like, oh my God, what's happening? This is not me. This is so unlike me. I realized really quickly I had to let go of my mind in that moment and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what I think. Let's just feel this. Let's go through this. Let's listen what it's telling me. So I did. And first, I just allowed the emotion, even though I thought I was drowning. And if you have done the psychedelic experience, which I had about 6 years ago, maybe 7 now, I remember the very first time. Oh my God. The resistance of, I'm losing my mind and I'm losing my identity. I'm losing all the belief and the values and everything I think I am, or what I think I am and why I am. That moment that probably lasted maybe 40 minutes. I thought I was dying, and actually that's what a lot of people call the ego death. Ego death. I've gone through many ego deaths. And you don't go through an ego death just once, because again, healing happens in layers. There's many ego deaths. And ego, we can do another video about what ego is. But healthy ego is important. It's our personality. It's what makes us individuals in this fractal universe. But unhealthy ego is the one that wants to attach its consciousness, its awareness into the physical identity and attach to the belief systems. And no matter where you put your belief system, you know, there are a lot of, we call it a spiritual ego, all of those that feel and attach to the spiritual beliefs. This is the only way to whatever you wanna, whatever you think is going to lead you to enlightenment, ascension, new earth, cosmic, whatever titles you want to lock yourself into. That's ultimately as well your ego wanted to create, build an image of you. And that's how you feel safe. Oh, if I'm telling myself these are my values, this is who I am, this is what I am, and this is why I'm here, I'm safe. But eventually all of that is going to crumble because energy is coming in and is actually softening and breaking. So you can attach all you like to that layer of identity. Eventually you have to let it go. And so the only way to do that is by being present. And you can't bypass it. You can't think of a happy thought or invoke light rays or angels or masters or ascended masters or your ancestry. Yeah, that could be helpful to feel yourself supported, but it's not going to save you from going through the work. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that's happening at the moment, is that a lot of people are waiting to be saved one way or the other. Something's gonna happen that finally I will be able to magically become this new light being, or magically abundance will be reigning all over earth and everything will be fine. Magically the systems of control will fall and everything will be fine. And while yes, there is an aspect of it, as we are in an evolution cycle now, we can't take away our own responsibility and our actions. And how are we supporting that? And it's not by thinking in terms of big things and big changes that you gotta do. You just gotta be present in your heart and open and ready for the waves that come in. The eclipse of the 8th of November, it's really tied to your identity, your values, and your attachments, and let's say your worth, what you own or you think you own. That is at play here. And astrologically, of course, depending on what area of your life the eclipse will illuminate, that's where you need to pay attention. There are 12 houses, and each house in your natal chart has an area in your life, has an area at play. It's like dividing your life into a pie of 12 slices, and each slice is all your different areas of, let's say, role playing in the game of life. And the eclipse is illuminating one area, whether it's your home, your assets, your work, your health, your belief system, your social interactions, your relationships. That is the area that is going to come and say, hey, what in this area, what's here for you to realize, to release, to accept, to realign, to surrender. And that's where it's going to hit you. And when we know this, it's easier, again, because we're ready for it. Now, Mars being retrograde in Gemini for the next 7 months, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of feeds from this anyway. So I'm not gonna get into deep detail, but I'm gonna tell you something. Geminis are argumentative. That's what they do. They're ruled by Mercury. And Geminis always have a lot of sides. They love a good debate. They're able to say many points of view, and but they're very fixed into, you know, winning the battle. So having Mars in retrograde or spinning or just like slowing down and staying in Gemini for that period of time is going to be extra challenging, because Mars is the archetype of originally war, but it's beyond that. It's the archetype of not vitality, energy, physical energy, strength, the masculine part, the directed part, the controlling aspect, that aspect that gives you your life force as well. So we're going to be challenged in all of those aspects. And in Gemini as well means that there might be a lot of that. This is what I believe, and this is my truth, and it should be your truth. That is the negative aspect of this energy. Energy at its worst would be hanging on to our values and not being able to see anybody else's, and then pushing that towards the others. And that is a problem. And that is going to be brought up more during this time as well, for us to realize, is it really worth it? Is it only my point of view, the point of view that is the most truthful? Can I actually just allow my perception to be just that, my perception? All right. So that is the tricky navigation we gotta do. So it's time to release attachments, belief system, traumas, the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves and our wounds. Because yes, it's great to acknowledge and say, yes, we all come from a wounded childhood somehow, one way or the other. Our parents were imperfect, some of them were abusive, some of them were narcissists, and some of them were actually pretty good, doing their best, but still they weren't good enough, because that's human psyche. We tend to project on others and tell ourselves stories that justify our actions or our reactions. And it's also time to let go of that, the stories we tell ourselves, to be able to sleep at night feeling that we are good people. But it's beyond that. It's not even about good or bad anymore, because it's about realizing that we are all just human beings experiencing this life the best way we can, really. So it's all about letting go. Letting go of the old structures. And collectively, they're going to keep crumbling big time. So how useful it is for you to be in that? Not really. I'll say it's time to go more within and more observing how are you actually contributing to the collective pool of energies. And the best way to contribute is actually to connect into our hearts and become channels or access points or antennas, vessels for this new energy coming through the sun, the light, and the breath, the prana, to just be conduits of energy and frequency and waves. And when we are conduits, to be able to be the best conduit, we need to allow the energy to come through, move through whatever we need to move through, whether it feels like I'm dying, and allow it to pass it through. And if we all just do this without trying to understand and control and manipulate or resist or direct, or if we just surrender to it, then this energy will come and will be amplified. And it's like that flash event that we've been hearing about. And it's not about being saved by the bell or by the solar flash or by our cosmic family. It's through us. You see, that's That's the irony, or that's the paradox. The more light we let in, the more it amplifies, and it becomes a flash from within that then becomes or gives the signal to be that mirrored back at us. So for those of us who are attached to that belief of the flash, the solar flash, and all of this, you are the solar flash. We have inner suns. Can you beam? But to do that, can you receive? Can you purify? Can you purify your vessel? Can you be open to receive? Can you let go of any notion that you have about what you are, who you are, and why you are? And when you do, that's it. That's it. That's becoming the void, becoming the soil, the fertile space, where then a new life can be experienced. So be ready for it. I'll be posting a bit more as I come closer. But this is all I wanted to say today. The closer we are to align ourselves with who we are, what we are, and why we are, the more freedom we will experience. Freedom to truly explore and create with curiosity. And then we can truly use our imagination and our ability to manifest, create, amplify whatever we desire and want and are ready for. Resistance creates separation, and presence and acceptance brings a sense of peace. All right. I'll let you be. Thank you for listening. As always, Satnam.